My name is Mohamad Kharudin bin Khalid, and I'm from Nilai University. So today I will be presenting systematic review on the barriers and enablers of school participation among orang asli students in Malaysia. So this study consolidates findings from the past decade to the better understand the challenge and opportunity within indigenous education. So this review synthesized 40 empirical studies published between 2012 and 2025. So the finding reveal persistent educational inequities faced by orang asli students, including low participation and limited progression to secondary and tertiary levels. At the same time, the review identified promising practice such as culturally responsive teaching and bilingual instructional strategy. So these insights are aligned with the broader goals of SDG 4 and SDG 10. So let's we go to background of this study. So education is recognized globally as a fundamental human right and key drivers of sustainable development. However, in Malaysia, orang asli community continue to experience significant marginalization within education system in Malaysia. So despite various national policy gaps in participation and achievement remain wide, so this review aimed to understand the root cause of these disparities and highlight solutions that have been shown to support orang asli learners. So this review is guided by four main questions. First, what types of barriers are reported in the literature? Second, what enabling factors of intervention has been shown to support participation? And third, what methodology and theoretical framework has been used in studying orang asli educations? And fourth, what gaps exist in the current bodies of research? So these questions shape the structures and the directions of this systematic review. Characteristics of included study, which is that the study span a wide range of orang asli groups, including Temia, Semai, Jakun, Temuan, Semak Berry, and the others. As we know that in Malaysia, we have the three major ethnics of orang asli, which is that first we have Negrito, second we have the Senoi, and the last one we have the Malay, Proto, which is that each group they have multiples of sub-ethnic or sub-group. So this kind of, I think, interesting. Okay, so most research focus on, okay, be back to the research. Most research focus on primary school in the rural and the remote setting in terms of methodological distribution. 26 studies were qualitative, 8 were quantitative, and only 4 used mixed methods. So this distribution has implication for the strength and generalizability of current evidence. Methodology, we use PRISMA informant approach to identify relevant study. The search was conducted using semantic scholar and OpenLS, resulting in 499 initial records. After removing duplicate and applying inclusion criteria, 40 studies were selected for full analysis. Only empirical study focusing on orang asli students in the formal education setting was included. Most of the selected studies were qualitative method, allowing rich insight into life experience. So we move to the next slide, which is we talk about the barriers to school participation, which is the findings show that the barriers to school participation operate at the multiple interconnected levels. This includes individuals, family, community, institutional, structural, and cultural factors. So understanding this multi-layered nature is important because it explains why one-dimensional interventions often fail to improve outcomes. The number one, individual levels barriers, which is that language proficiency is one of the most significant barriers. Many orang asli children enter school with a limited exposure to Bahasa Melayu, which affects comprehension and performance across subjects. The next, low literacy and numeracy skill, fears of examination, shyness, and reduced self-confidence further hinder participations. These challenges are often a result of structural disadvantage rather than personal ability. Number two, family and community factors also play major roles. Poverty limits access to school supply, transport, and nutritious foods. Many parents have minimal formal educations and struggle to support their children's learning. Cultural practice, such as the Sayyid law, emphasize non-coercion and children autonomy, which may reduce pressure to attend schools. Additionally, traditional livelihood can conflict with the school schedule, contributing to inconsistent attendance. The next, school themselves contribute to participation challenge, which is, you can see, the national curriculum is often disconnected from Orang Asli cultural context. Teachers assigned to this school may not have training in culturally responsive pedagogy, and high turnover disrupt continuity, which is, some students also experience discriminations or low expectation, which further discourage engagement. Exam-driven practice can disadvantage learners from require more flexible approach. At the systematic levels, geographic isolation, poor road conditions, and the limited digital infrastructure restrict access to quality educations. Many orang asli settlements lack reliable transportation, electricity, or internet connectivity. Even when policy are well designed, well implementations and monitoring reduce their effectiveness. These structural issues highlight the needs for cross-sectional collaborations. And the last one, cultural and economic reality also shape school participations. Traditional forest-based livelihood and seasonal work often require children to help their family, leading to irregular schooling. Hidden schooling costs such as uniforms and transportation can become burdensome. Dropout rates are particularly high during the transition to secondary school where academic demand and cost increase. So this is the barriers. Now we go to enabling to school participations. Despite the barriers that the literatures identify the several promising enabling factor, which is that these include culturally responsive pedagogy, language sensitive instruction, teacher cultural competence, community engagement, and improved infrastructure. So this approach are most effective when they respect indigenous identity and align with the local context. Okay, so we go to the point number one, culturally responsive pedagogy, which is teaching is one of the strongest enablers. When teachers incorporate indigenous knowledge, cultural examples, and local context into lessons, students show greater interest and comprehension. Contextualized models in mathematics, science, and language has been found to improve engagement, attendance, and academic performance. Okay, the point number two, language sensitive strategies such as code switching, bilingual teachings, and the use of indigenous language help ease students into formal schooling. So this approach tighten comprehensions, build confidence, and support early literacy. Studies also show that targeted reading intervention lead to measurable improvement in literacy skills. And the next point, teacher preparedness is another critical enabler, which is teacher trained in the cultural competence and indigenous educations are better equipped to create inclusive classroom. Positive teacher-student relationship foster trust and participation. Moreover, stable teacher placement allow continuity, which is especially important in remote schools. And next point, community engagement has significant impact on participations. When parents, village leaders, and community elders are actively involved in schools activity, it strengthens alignment between cultural value and school expectation. Respecting the said law while promoting supportive involvement has been shown to increase attendance and reduce dropouts. Infrastructures and access interventions such as a boarding facility, transport assistance, digital learning tools, and feeding programs help address practical obstacles. These support are especially valuable for students in remote areas, ensuring greater consistency in attendance and participation. And last one point for enabling factors and interventions. Another set of enabling factor can be seen policy and the system level, which is scholarship and financial aid play important roles in reducing economic pressure experienced by many orang asli family, allowing students to remain in school without the burden of financial constraints. Beyond financial support, integrated development service, such as combining education with health, welfare, and community development programs, create long-term and sustainable educational outcomes. So this holistic approach ensures the student needs are addressed across multiple sectors. Additionally, technology enhanced learning has shown emerging potentials, especially in bringing gaps of remote community. So when implemented effectively, digital tools and online learning platforms can expand access to educations, resources, and improve learning continuity for orang asli students. Okay, so there's a point for enabling factors and interventions. So how about research gaps? Okay, so this review highlights several research gaps. There is a strong reliance, which is that you can see many research, strong reliance on qualitative study, which we few quantitative or intervention-based evaluation. So longitudinal research is scarce and little attention has been given to secondary and tertiary transitions. Additionally, the diversities among different orang asli group require more nuanced studies. So the implications for policy and the practice. So curriculum reform must prioritize cultural relevance. The teachers training program needs stronger emphasis on indigenous pedagogy. Community school partnership should be institutionalized. And finally, access-based interventions must be paired with academics and psychosocial support to ensure long-term impacts. So the conclusions. Orang asli educational inequities persist due to complex structural, cultural, and systemic factors. However, evidence shows that culturally grounded and community-driven approach can significantly strengthen participation. Achieving progress requires systemic transform and alignment with SDG, particularly SDG 4 and SDG 10. Okay. So I think that's all for my presentations about my research. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So we meet again, inshallah, in future. Thank you so much.